Alright friends, welcome back. Welcome to day 1 of the 7-day extreme grocery budget meals challenge. So today we will be making 18 meals for 24 cents each serving. That comes out to about $4.24 for a full day of meals for my family of 6. These are the items that we will be using. If you missed my first video where I do the full breakdown of the cost and the items purchased, be sure to check that one out. So in today's video, we will be sharing 5 delicious recipes that are shorter please. So the recipes include dinner, which was Cajun chicken sausage over rice, delicious flatbread wrap recipe that we'll be using to make our roasted chicken salad and our egg salads for lunch. But first we're going to start with our biscuits for our biscuit and egg breakfast for day 1. So let's go. Okay, so I'm making biscuits. So in here I already have 1 cup of flour. I'm going to add another cup of flour, so 2 cups of flour. I'm going to do 4 teaspoons of baking powder. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's baking. Half a teaspoon of salt. So set that. And I'll also add 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm just going to create a well. I'm going to add this is 1 cup of buttermilk. I just happen to have buttermilk, but you can use regular milk. I have buttermilk I need to get rid of. I made butter. I'm just going to mix that around. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of shortening. 3 tablespoons of butter, and it's not melted, but it is softened. Okay, so now I'm just kneading the dough for the biscuits, but you don't want to mess with it too much because you do not want to overwork your dough. I'm using softened butter, so it doesn't matter if it melts or not. I do have another biscuit recipe coming up throughout the week. So I'm just going to flour my surface, and yes, my surface is clean. I'm just going to flatten it out. No need for it to be even. So I'm just going to roll my dough out a little, not too much. I'm going to make it about 1 inch thick. I just want to make it so that I can cut squares. They don't have to be even, but I'm just going to cut out enough for my family. And then I'm going to paste some on my baking sheet. It is not floured. Then I'm just going to butter the top of the biscuit so that they get a nice crunch and also get that nice buttery flavor. And I'm going to bake these at about 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes. And when they come out, mine are a beautiful brown. I'm just going to baste the top of them with some more butter, and they're nice and firm so they can hold a sandwich really good if you're going to make an egg and cheese sandwich. And I just want to show you how nice and moist they are. Don't let the crispy texture fool you. They were so soft, moist, and very delicious. So there you have it. So this is what the breakfast looked like plated. And that was breakfast for day 1. So now we're going to move into lunch for day 1. Okay, hey friends. So today I'm making a flatbread. And in my mixing bowl, I already have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm adding a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar. This is a half teaspoon, so I'm going to add 2. And then to that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And of course I'm making a mess. So I'm going to add a cup and a half of water when I turn the mixer on. So I'm just going to turn that and let that kind of incorporate. Okay, now I'm going to add my water. This is warm water. And then to that I have melted 1/3 cup of shortening and 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm just going to pour that in. I'm going to turn it up and I'm just going to let it mix. I'm going to turn it up, mix it a little more because I only want to mix this for about a minute. So I have it on number 6. I started with 2, 4, and now I'm at 6. And I just want a wet dough. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, so yes, the dough is wet. I'm gonna let it rest for about 5 minutes and I'm gonna come back to it. It should thicken up a little and I'll see you then. Okay, so my dough has sat for about 5 minutes and it is wet. Well, not wet, it's a shaggy dough, but it's kind of wet and that's okay, that's what we want. And I didn't scrape the bottom because I actually want the excess flour. So on the counter, I'm just gonna put some flour, not that much flour. So I'm gonna put some flour. And yes, my surface is clean. I use Lysol to clean it off, the kitchen Lysol. So I'm gonna dump my dough. This is a quick basic dough. For a quick basic flatbread type tortilla type bread. Okay, so the dough is sticky. And yes, I have a lot of flour here. And I'm just going to pick up some of the flour. Okay, so it's not as sticky anymore. So I have enough flour, so let's move some of that out. Let's grab all these bits and pieces. So yes, I make a mess. Not professional, but I know what I like. So you want to keep it kind of loose. I'm just going to grab a dough cutter. And I'm going to cut rough pieces. I don't measure, I don't weigh or any of that stuff. I know I want about 6 to 8 pieces. But I may get more. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and they're still very soft. So let's move those out the way. And we're gonna make this really quick. So I just have to get my roller. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a rough roll. Nothing perfect because we don't have a lot of time. We're trying to make this move fast, you know, we're busy. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll these out. And you can add more flour as needed. I'm trying to roll these out pretty thin, and no, they're not gonna be perfect because that's the whole point. Okay, so I just want to show you guys my oops, sorry, I just stepped on something. Parchment paper. So I just want to show you guys my flatbreads, nice and rolled out. Now see, they're all different sizes and different shapes. It doesn't matter because we're not striving for perfection. We're just striving for food to eat. So that's what you want. And then from here, I'm just gonna stick them on the stove to fry out. And you could add oil here, but I'm lazy, we ain't gonna do that. So I'll meet you guys at the stove. Okay, so once your pan's very, very hot, you just wanna make sure that you distribute the oil. Then you're gonna place your flatbread. You're just gonna Take some of the excess oil and brush it on. Okay, then you want to flip. And then you want to also oil this side. And it's going to start to puff. That's fine. And you'll make it as brown as you want to. And you can dust these with, not dust, but you can baste these with butter. Like a nice garlic butter. Okay guys, so there you have it, our flatbreads, and I just buttered them. And this is quick, easy, cheap, and simple because the only thing that I added that was in my shuffle is of course the shortening. But if you don't have the shortening, you can go ahead and substitute for butter. But this is quick, simple, and easy. And these are like tortillas, and you can wrap them with anything. You can eat them as is. But for our recipes that we're going to be making, we're going to use these as burrito wraps. So stay tuned. Bye. Oh, before I let you guys go, I just want to tear one apart so you get an idea what it looks like. So see, it's kind of flaky. They're so good. So good. You gotta make these. All right, bye. So for lunch, you go with those delicious wraps. We're going to be making egg salad and chicken salad. So for your egg salad, you're going to need 4 eggs, mustard, salt, pepper, parsley, mayonnaise, sweet relish, dill relish, and some chives. So we're going to start with 4 hard-boiled eggs that you want to chop into chunky pieces. You don't want to cut them too small because you don't want this to be a mushy egg salad. So I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting those. We're going to cut them until they come out looking like this. And until the eggs, we're going to go ahead and add our mayonnaise. So always remember that the measurements and the ingredients will be in the description box below. So to that, we're going to go ahead and add some mustard and some pepper to taste. Then we're going to go ahead and add some chives. And this is a great combination. You can use Italian seasoning or whatever you like. I find that the chives are a bit mild, so that's better for my family. We don't like too much flavor in the egg salad. And then to that, you're going to go ahead and put some parsley. And of course, salt to taste. And then your sweet relish. Now, depending on if you like your salad sweet or not, you're going to determine how much relish you want. So after the sweet relish, then we're going to add our dill relish. I didn't want to add too much because I don't like it to be bitter. You're just going to go ahead and fold that around. You don't want to mix it too much because you don't want it to become mush. And then to this, I'm going to go ahead and add some paprika for color because we know paprika is only for color, honey. And this is what your egg salad should look like. Delicious and tasty, nice and chunky. And then we rolled it in the wraps, and this is what it looks like. And this was one of the lunches for day 1. I ended up doing chicken salad as well because some of my kids like egg salad and some like chicken salad. So here I have 4 chicken thighs, and to that I'm going to add the complete seasoning. If you don't have complete seasoning, feel free to use chicken bouillon. And I added garlic seasoning as well. Not too much because most of our flavor is going to come from the things that we're going to put in the chicken salad. So you just want to go ahead and mix that around. Yes, my hands are always clean. And then to this, I decided to add just a little bit of seasoning salt just to make sure, because we're not marinating it. We're just going to go ahead and season it and put it directly in the oven. So I wanted to make sure I got some flavor. It wasn't going to have time to soak into it, but you know, I season everything, so. So once you've seasoned your chicken, you want to go ahead and add it to a pan. And I'm going to bake this chicken for about 30 minutes. And of course, you notice I took the skin off the chicken because I didn't want it to produce too much oil. So I just wrapped that in foil, went ahead and stuck it in the oven. When it comes out, it's going to look like this. It's going to look delicious. So of course your chicken shrinks. That's why I used 4 chicken breasts here. So I deboned them and I went ahead and cut them into pieces. I didn't want to shred them because I like to have chunky chicken salad. And to that I went ahead and add my mayo. And of course my sweet relish. And then some chives, of course. Now, if you have Italian seasoning, you can use that, but that's not what I had. And of course, your dill relish. I'm not sure why the camera doesn't like to focus, but salt and pepper to taste. And then I added some Dijon mustard. I find that Dijon mustard is perfect for a chicken salad. And if you don't have Dijon mustard, feel free to add regular mustard, but that's what I had. And then we're going to add parsley. And then, of course, I'm going to add some onions. And I did find a stalk of celery in my refrigerator that needed to be used up. So, of course, I'm going to add it here. You don't have to add either one here. But remember, we're trying to get veggies in wherever we can because this is a budget meal. So anywhere I can add veggies, I try to go ahead and do that based on what we purchased. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix that around. You don't want to break up the chicken too much, but you want to make sure that everything is incorporated. So you're just going to continue to mix and make sure that everything's nice and coated. So here's one of my wraps, and they're, like I said, they're not perfect, but they are delicious, and this is how we like to eat them. So I just put a nice heaping spoonful of chicken salad on the wrap, and then we're going to go ahead and roll it, and I cut it in half just to show you guys what it looks like. And this is actually very filling because the chicken salad is very bulky. And this was the other option for lunch on day one. Okay, so I'm going to season up the chicken for my Cajun chicken and sausage skedaddle. And this has already been washed and cut up. This was 2 chicken thighs that I just deboned, and I'm saving the bones for a stock. So I'm just going to go ahead and season. And I'm seasoning on the cutting board, which is clean, because I'm going to put it right inside the I'm not going to season it for long because the stew, it's like a stew and it's going to sit for a while. So anyway, we have Creole seasoning, and that's about a tablespoon, actually a teaspoon. All right, and then I got garlic powder, and it's not a lot of chicken because the chicken is just going to be inside of the sausage. It's just to add a little more for my family. That was black pepper. And then I have some Italian seasoning. I wrote that on there. Just a little of that. A little onion powder. And a little paprika. Okay. Just grab a fork. Just gonna mix that around because this is just gonna sit for a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and just fry it up. Because like I said, it's gonna sit in a sauce, and we can't have unseasoned chicken. We just can't do it. Okay. All right, and it has lemon juice already in it because, like I said, I cleaned it, and I always squeeze some more lemon just in case. So that's just gonna sit like that. I'm gonna add a little more paprika because we like color. Okay. All right, so that's that. We'll move on to part 2 in a second. Okay, so to my hot pan, I actually have some bacon fat. So that's a good frugal trick to use bacon fat if you have it. Instead of oil, but if you don't have, of course, you're going to use oil. And that's hot, so I'm just going to add my chicken. So once your chicken has begun to brown, you want to go ahead and add your onions. And after I add my onions, I went ahead and added some complete seasoning just to make sure that my pot stays flavored. And then I wanted to go ahead and add my sausage. You don't have to cook the sausage because this is a stew. The sausage is pre-cooked. And I like to get a crust on the sausage if I cook the sausage on its own, but because this was going in the stew, I just wanted to kind of cook it through, just to make sure that those flavors got incorporated into the sausage. So here I'm just adding some soy sauce. And of course my Worcestershire sauce, because this gives it an amazing flavor. Don't skip out on that Worcestershire sauce. To that, I'm just adding a bit of chicken bouillon. This is optional because your chicken is in there, but because I'm going to put so much water and I like a lot of gravy, I went ahead and put the chicken bouillon. And I'm going to go ahead and add some beef bouillon. I had that better than beef bouillon in the refrigerator, so I went ahead and added that for another depth of flavor. And then I'm going to add some ketchup. The key to cooking on a budget is to flavor your food. There's no need for bland food. Just because your budget is not super high does not mean your food has to taste bland. And then I'm going to add some cayenne pepper here because we love the heat, and what is Cajun food without heat? And then I'm just going to mix that around to make sure that the flavors are incorporated. From here, I'm going to go ahead and add half the can of the diced tomatoes. And as you can see, I still have half a can left. We're going to use that in another recipe throughout the week. I just want to stir that around to heat through the tomatoes to make sure that everything is incorporated. Now, of course, I have to add my Frank's hot sauce because we're trying to get as much heat as possible in this dish. Now, if your kids do not like a lot of spice, you do not have to add this, or you can limit the amount that you add. And to this, I went ahead and added 3 cups of water. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of water, but this is a very big pan. And I'm just going to cover that and let that cook down for about 35 minutes on medium high. And then when I come back, my pan looks like this. As you can see, the water has evaporated, and you can put more water to stretch your food if you want to. This was just enough for us, so I did not have to add any more water here. Or if you find that maybe something's a little saltier or whatever, you can always add water because it has thickened on its own. And then here's my rice. I did not do a tutorial on rice here because I have one on my channel in one of my other videos. And then rice is a pretty basic recipe, but if you need me to do a rice tutorial, I'll be happy to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and spoon that Cajun sauce and sausage and chicken over the rice, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So this is the bowl actually for me. My bowl's pretty deep, and look at that. And I just sprinkled some more parsley over it for presentation, but there you have it, guys. A delicious frugal meal for your family, a full day of eating. Nothing here was bland. I hope you enjoyed the meals. If you did, please be sure to share, comment, and of course subscribe, and be sure to stay tuned for day 2 of this 7-day journey. And until the next video, bye.